Hello, my friends. Hello, the Life Warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 230, I was honored, a pleasure to have Costas Schuler on the podcast. He is a brand strategist. Strategist. I can't even say it. Brand strategist, graphic designer. Oh my God, graphic designer, actor, welder, and yes, also known as the pen guy. I have to say, it was a delightful conversation with him. We talked about why he moved from sunny California to sunny Florida. We also talked about, yeah, how he's been working for 26 years as a graphic designer, and yeah, what his plans are now for the future. Yeah, got to say, very good conversation. We also talked about, yeah, the homeless situation in California, which was interesting to say the least. I've got to say, very interesting guy. Look forward to talking to him again. And yeah, please sit back, enjoy the show, and have a good one. Yeah, peace. Ha ha. Oh. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today, on episode 230, I am very lucky to have Costas Schuler on the podcast. Now, this man is a man of many talents. Some would call him an actor, some would call him a designer, some would call him a welder. But you know what? He's lovingly known as the pain guy to many a person out there as well. Recently, like he was a Californian. I can't even say it. He was living in California, and now he's gone to the crazy state of Florida. Would be Florida man in the making. How are you today, sir?
I'm excellent. I'm happy to be here. It's sunny, it rains, and it's beautiful.
Yes, you were telling me before we started, like, yes, you now just wear t-shirts every day. Oh, to be so lucky.
I've been wearing the t-shirts for 8 months, even through the winter. Like, no big deal. It gets a little cool here, but if you just moved here from another state, this feels beautiful. So like Floridians, they start wearing sweaters. You know, it gets around 70 below, below
Yeah,
70, but it's not a big deal. It's beautiful.
yeah. I have to ask, why did you make the move from California to Florida?
uh, we had some friends, a friend and client who moved here a year before we did. And I've
Hmm.
been working with her for like 10, 12 years with her nonprofit. So I designed everything, I did brand and everything. So she tricked me. She's like, just come over and check it out. Just stay on the boat. So I came over with my
Just stay
wife,
on the boat.
just stay on
Yeah,
the boat. And I fell in love with it. With like on the way here, we decided we should just move to Florida. So because California, here's what we got. We got fires. I've been
yeah.
evacuated 3 times for the fires. We got droughts. We got earthquakes. You don't know when that's going to happen. It was like the lockdowns and the politics kind of got weird and
Mm,
stuff, and it's very strict with all that stuff. So we like this. It's time for a move. Let's go for an adventure. Let's get the heck out of here. So boom, I just like within 6 weeks, I sold everything. I gave everything. Took things to the dump. I mean, I shipped things over to the apartment with like 6 weeks, and then I traveled across the country in the van with my best friend with all our stuff. And I flew here, but it was like, let's get out of Dodge.
yeah. Yeah, I can imagine because like it's the thing, like doing a move, like I've recently done a move and like I found that it was challenging and we only went 125, 150 miles,
Easy.
like from London to where we are now in Leamington Spa. But to like go, okay, yeah, you know what? California, like what part of California were you in?
I was in the northern part in the Sonoma County wine country, like an hour north of San Francisco.
So,
It's it's
so you
beautiful.
like, yeah, I'm sure it is, but you're talking.
Redwood trees.
Yeah, you're talking the most northern part of California. So sort of like, yeah, like Fort Lauderdale, which
I
is
mean,
like an epic move.
almost 4,000 miles. Like took me 4 days. We're driving like we had the windows down. We're taking turns driving. We're having great conversations. We're like, I got mad at my friend a couple of times and told him to, go get lost, but we worked it out, but we just it was epic road trip. The car was like this, it's so heavy with all my shit. Sorry.
No, like, you're okay. Like, you know what I mean? You can curse, it's okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, this is the thing. Talking of cars, but like, yeah, your car's like that. But did you have a pen on that car at all?
Not a pen. So when I left California, and so the pen car was something that I started, like, I've been driving this car that was covered in pens for like 15 years. So I had to like get rid of everything. The car like broke down. The car rolled down the hill. It got into neutral, and it started rolling down the hill and crashed into a tree. Right, so it was like mashed up. I was like, no way I'm going to spend the money to fix that, because it's just it was like the universe saying, okay, Costas, the project's over. It's time to end this. So I stopped doing it. So I had to take it to the dump, to the place, the scrapyard, where they take all the parts apart. So I took it there. I got like $60 for it. Then I had to get rid of all the pens I'd collected over the years. I mean, I had to get rid of everything and let go.
It was like, did you feel sad or did you feel relieved with it going?
It was a relief. I mean, because the project was amazing. So I read a book. I found a book at the library one day called Art Cars, written by Harold Blank. And I was looking through, I was reading all the stories about people that had decorated their cars. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, at that moment, I'm like, I got to do this. This is so like America. Like, this is what Americans do. Like, this is a cool art form. And then I didn't know what to do, because how do you commit to like start gluing stuff to your car, right? So 2 years later, I woke up one day and I was like, oh, the pens, like the idea for pens just like was in my head. And so I went around the house, I collected like 20 pens, dead pens, and I took some glue and I took like silicone glue, and in the middle of the night with a flashlight, I'm gluing pens in my car, like looking around going like
I can imagine you trying to explain that to the law.
Yeah. And then the next day I went to work, like I had to like go to my job, and people were like, what are you doing? Like I started asking people for pens, so I got more and more, and I put a bunch, I get a bunch, put a bunch. So it started growing, and people were like, what is that? And they started asking me, and I told them, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing an art car. And I eventually covered it with about 10,000 pens, like inside, outside, everything. It was like fully decked out in pens. And I drove that everywhere. It was like my daily drive. I went to the grocery store. I went to drop the kids to the school. I went to business meetings. I went everything. So people like start to know me as the pen guy. And it was like people were waving at me. It was like, it was beautiful. It was a fun project. I got to talk to like thousands of people.
I'm glad you got to talk to thousands of people, because like when you said, like when I watched the YouTube video, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, you know what I mean? Just have a car which you've covered in pens. It's that bit of artwork. But I didn't realize it was like your working car on the daily basis.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got to drop the kids off at the school, and the kids are like, what's going on? And what was beautiful is that my kids were never embarrassed of the car. It was like, yeah, that's my dad. He's the pen guy. Oh, he's the pen guy? Wow. Yeah, it was like, your dad's the pen guy? It was like, and I used to go to schools, and I used to like talk about recycling and things like that. So I'd actually drive the car into the yard, and the kids would show up, and I'd do a little talk, and they would come around, and so what happened is like I did this a bunch. And so those kids that graduated from high school, and they would meet me in the streets and say, hey, I remember you came to my school that one time. That was kind of cool. It was like a wonderful thing. Like one time I was in an elevator, and this kid recognized me, like without any of the gear I have. And he's like, oh, Mom, that's the pen guy. He's the title of his mom. It was so funny to like be a celebrity in this little town,
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't make up T-shirts and like, really roll with it big time.
Oh, I don't know. I could have done it, but some things you just like. It's a great idea, but it's like implementation is like, it's too much. I got too much stuff to do. I'm like,
Yeah, no, I hear you. Because like this is the thing, I was like quite amazed at some of the cars which were there. The car where it was a driving instrument. And yes, there was the other car which was covered in brass. Like, don't get excited, people. It wasn't that type of car.
The brand that you talk about, the van that was covered in like I
Ladies'
forget.
underwear, let's just say.
Oh my, yeah, there's all kinds of it. And so what's cool is like that book. So I met the author. So
Okay.
there was these events in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. So it was called Art Car Fest. So I ended up going the first year. I found them, so I got to go. It was like the car was only like a quarter done, but I showed up. I didn't, and so I got to meet the guy who wrote the book. I got to meet some of the people in the book. So then we became friends. Like like I'd go to these events every year, and we'd drive around San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. We'd do all these events, and we'd barbecue like 4 days. We'd barbecue together and hang out and tell
Mm.
stories. And it turned into like, what kind of glue to use? Like we was like a glue fest. Like, oh, I use this, I use that. But it was very educational and just a wonderful community that I got to be a part of for some time.
I love it. I love it. Like this is the thing, like, yeah, joining communities, building communities. I think it's an important thing in this day and age, which like people like, oh yeah, I want to build an online community, but they don't sort of like, I don't think they truly understand what that means. They have an idea, but they don't know what it truly means.
Yeah, it's like it's communities when you having a barbecue and you get to cook for everybody,
Mm.
and you have beers and you have drinks and you solve problems together. Like driving through San Francisco. Like, okay, imagine this: you got 40 cars and you're in the line. You're trying to like bob and weave through the city of San Francisco, which is crazy. And so
Yeah.
you got to stay together. You got to take the right turns, and it's like. And everyone's on the CB radio, walkie-talkies. We're I'm going this way, I'm going that way. You got the map. Like we didn't have like apps on the phone. It was kind of in that place where we had to use like printouts. We had like 20-page printout of all the maps, and we had to like make sure. It was crazy.
Uh,
There was like some drama. There was all kinds of. I mean, there's drama everywhere, but it was. We worked it out. And it was fun. We just got
yeah.
through it.
Yeah. No. Because like this is the thing. The only reason why I said yeah, when I mentioned why didn't you run with it? Because now one of the things you are very strong on is actually sort of building personal brands with that as well. Like so, like with that, have you found your sort of identity, former identity as the pen guy? You sort of learn from that to help other people build their own brands.
Yeah, because that's my thinking. So when I started this thing, I wanted to brand it because I wanted to, like when I see an art car driving down the road,
Mm,
I want to know something about it. Like I have a split second and I wish to know who that is, what it is, the name of it. So I created the pen guy, and then I actually used to have a banner on the back of my window, like a wrap, just the window, and it was as the pen guy, the website. So
mm,
then it's like, oh, when you see the guy driving down the street, like that's the pen guy. And
mm.
so then it sort of became that I started doing the hat and things. So I started creating like a persona. But I was very interested in branding that, and I did a freaking phenomenal job, if I say so myself.
Well,
Because
well, like yeah, so it like didn't say modest pen guy in your monitor.
no,
It was
no,
like,
not at
hey,
all.
it's
No,
like,
no,
I am the pen guy.
I'm the
Remember
badass
this?
pen guy.
Just
That's
giving
right.
it that.
It was just fun. It's like you create, like become a superhero or something. It's like you. It was recognizable. It's like I went through I asked my family, pen man, pen
Yeah,
dude, pen
yeah,
guy, oh pen guy. So it was like very easy to say. So it was a fun. It was half serious. It was just for fun, but it turned into something bigger.
yeah. I hear that. I hear that. So when did you sort of like get into like doing graphic design and brand strategy?
So my dad is an electrical engineer, so he was always pushing me
Mm,
to do math. I ended up doing some calculus. He was trying to get me to do computer science. So when I went to college, my major was computer sciance, right?
yeah.
But I never took any of those classes because I wasn't really interested. So I started taking art classes, and I was like, and I fell in love with my first art class. Like 3 o'clock in the morning doing the project, I was like, this is what I got to do. And I kept taking art classes, and then I'm like,
Mm,
okay, I got to pay the bills. How do I do that? And so graphic design was the perfect combination of like technical and analytical
hmm.
and creative. It's the perfect mix because I'm both analytical and creative. Like I understand like engineers. I can I used to solder when I was 5 years old. I learned how to sew. So I understand technical things and I can wrap my head around, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. There was just way too much damn math. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So graphic design is like the perfect, and I got into it. And then my dad actually started a book publishing company, ended up hiring me to do the book publishing. He's like, oh, that's what you do. Like they couldn't figure out what I was doing for years. Like, what is this graphic design thing? My mom every day, what is this graphic design? And so my mom, to give a magazine, I showed this is what they do, the pictures of it. And when my dad hired me, he's like, oh, that's what you're doing. Now I'm glad you did it.
It's like, yes, I've saved so much money hiring you. What?
Yeah. Well, he didn't pay me enough, so I eventually had to let him go.
So like, yeah, when you sort of got started, like how did you sort of get the sort of business like you know what I mean, formulated? You worked with your dad for a little bit. Like how was it a case of you actively looked for clients, or how did that go?
Well, when you first start, you kind of did, like I did, like CD covers and tape covers for bands, friends of mine. So you kind of do that, and I actually ended up getting a job at Ernst & Young, which is a big accounting firm. So I worked in their creative department, and then I ended up moving to agency, like creative agency. So I learned more. There was a brief moment where I was doing sales. I actually sold cars for 3 months, which is, so, and then I got a job at an agency, and actually I had a job at a print shop, which is like phenomenal because I got to learn how to set up work for a printer, because like graphic designers come out of school, and a lot of them have no idea how to set up a job for a printer, and it's like it doesn't work, right? So I learned that, but what happened is the printer, he fired me. Well, he let me go, and so that was the moment where I started my business. Like the next day, I hit the road and I got a little job. It was a business card. So out of necessity, I started my business in visionary design.
And basically, so like how long have you been doing like graphic design now?
Over 26 years.
Over 26 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is like, as much as I go, that is mental, because like, you know,
that is
no, but it's like 26 years. It's like, you know what I mean? Like the sort of commitment it takes to do something for 26 years. I would say with a lot of people, it's like, they don't have that sort of commitment. It's like, do that for 26 years? No, I want to do something else. I want to do this. I want to do that.
It's funny because one of my design mentors, he says that there's no such thing as a retired graphic designer. Meaning we just love this work. We love this work, and so we do it until like we're at the computer, just don't. It's just like, so it's beautiful work. It's like I get paid to make shit up. Like get downloads and get ideas, and like basically take people's puzzles. They come with a problem. They're like, hi, I got this idea. I want to do this, and then there's all this like mess and tangle. So my job is to sort of to process that and come up with something that, like a logo that's this big, that conveys the whole message. Like all these ideas and colors, all this thing around their heads. Like that's my art, is I get to like make order out of chaos.
I like that.
It's a beautiful thing.
I like that. I like that a lot. Like this is the thing. Over your sort of 26 years career, like would you say, like how has the sort of landscape changed? Because look, 26 years ago, like graphic design is one thing, and like today it's like, you know, you spit out, like people like expect a program to just spit out a logo for them with no effort.
Yes. So I got into it just as they started using computers to do graphic design. Like I had a little Mac, little Macs, remember those?
God, yeah.
So I was doing desktop publishing. God forbid, like on a little Mac where you have a page, you're working, you start scrolling, trying to get to, anyway. So prior to that, it was more like hands-on. You cut, paste these things and glue, and there was no computers. You had to do everything by hand. So I got in it at the computer when the computer started. And so what's happened is like, it's like, because the software, we could do stuff like, I got Adobe. I got all these programs, you can do things, right? And so, but just because you got the programs and you got like the box with 10,000 fonts doesn't mean doesn't mean jack. It just means you're more likely to make a giant mess, because like when I see a flyer and it's got like every color, every type of font, that has like 20 fonts there, we call
Yeah.
that font terrorism. Okay, that's
He was like,
what
he was like, oh my Lord, what did you do?
yeah, right.
Just like, officer, my eyes.
I'm bleeding.
There was
I'm
like so many
bleeding.
colors. It was like, so many fonts, too many fonts. What son of a bitch did this to me?
I'm bleeding here, man. I'm bleeding here. So that's what it's done. It's sort of made it easier. So here's what happens. So people have software and they can do stuff, and then they say, well, can't you just do it real quick? Can't you just do a logo? So they expect the prices to go down, because like, look, I could do this. Why don't you know? It's not. It's just because you have the software doesn't mean you have the creative ability to process and to make something that works across platforms, print and web and banners. And it takes some time. It's like you gotta like percolate. It takes some. You gotta.
Yeah, no, because this is the thing. I was talking to like a guest about an episode ago, Laura Love. She's like an R&B artist, and she's basically taken the time to like sort of learn the skills of like music, syncing it up. Like she like had access to like a studio because she was working for this record like composer from films, and she had access to pretty much like $1 million studio. And like she like basically when everyone left from sort of like I think 6 o'clock till like 2 o'clock, she went in and she played and she learned and she played and learned. And like you're like, oh right. So she's really worked on her craft. Now today, she goes, yeah, if someone wants to sync up one track to another track, all they look for is like they look for colors, and if the colors match up, it means it's in sync. So it's like there's a lot of stuff where she will just listen and she goes, yes, this needs to go there and that needs to go there, and like people like look at her like she's like some type of wizard. I think it's pretty much like the same thing with yourself, because like the whole thing is like, okay, you like recently there was the release of the Mac Studio, right? Like big, powerful machine. You can do anything you want with this like tool. But it's like, yeah, to do something, to make something, yeah, you can make something, but to make it elegant takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of the craft, you know?
It's just a tool. Most things are just a tool, and they help you, but you got to know how to use the tool. Like, like listen, if I got a $5,000 welder at the house, it's a beautiful machine, does all kinds of stuff. But if I don't know how to use it, it's gonna look like dog shit. I'm sorry, I mean, that's it. I was like, so, and I gotta say, what's neat about what's happened in the last 20 years is like, I've learned so much. Like, it's so easy to access information and learn stuff. Man, I've learned so many cool things. I just go online, I find a PDF, I find a YouTube. Like if I can't do something, someone's asked me to, and I look it up right away, boom, boom, boom. And like within 30 seconds, I know how to do something. And that's what's the good side of this technology is like we all have access, but the thing is you gotta spend the time to perfect your craft. You gotta put the time in. At least 10,000 hours. I mean, you got to do something. You can't just, buy a box of fonts and go,
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. Because like the whole thing is, yes, having the information, the knowledge there, it's like, it's great. It's fantastic. Taking that knowledge in and then basically working on the skill set, as you say, with the 10,000 hours is a totally different game, which I think a lot of people don't sort of play that game, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Or if they do, it's like they don't play it to its fullest potential. You know what I mean?
You gotta love it. Like the things that I've gotten into, that I put the time in to learn something, is because I love what it is that I was doing at the moment, and I have this process where I fully immerse in whatever it is that I'm doing. Like I used to watch freaking videos of the weld, the guy doing the weld.
Yeah.
And I'd watch that puddle, right? I'd watch videos of just like hours of just like what it looks like. Just it's I mean, my wife was like, "What are you doing? What are you watching?" And I'm like, and just and then I'm out in the workshop, doing stuff. But you gotta love it, and you
Hmm.
gotta like put the time. You gotta like it's almost maddening to the other people around you because my son's like, wait, he focusing so much. It's like I can't hear a damn thing you're saying over here, but I'm doing this,
Yeah.
and it's a good and bad. Meaning I could fully immerse and learn something really quickly. Like if I decided to learn something, I'm on it.
Yeah. Would you say you get sort of kind of borderline obsessed with it?
Borderline. What? I mean, I'm on the other side of obsession. I'm in it. Like, what are you talking? There's no borderline. It's like you see that you're not obsessed or you are fully obsessed. There's no border. Well, there
Okay.
is a border, but you're like far into it. You know what I mean?
It's like, I'm way behind enemy lines.
I'm in there, dude. Roger, I mean,
You need to come and eat some food. Well, it's been
no,
three
don't
days.
talk to me. I mean, like it's funny. Like when I was welding, I'd come inside the house, and there's like, this metal. There's like I look like a freaking. Yeah, I mean, look like apocalypse. My clothes. I smell like metal, and it's like. But I was happy, just doing whatever it is I was doing out there. I had the idea. Like, okay, so the welding thing I got into, I'm like, you know what? If the internet ever goes down, I have a skill. Because if you notice, every apocalypse movie, there's always like welding going on in the background, right?
Well, yeah. Now put it this way. What was that film? Greenland, like where like there was like the comet coming down to hit
Yeah.
the earth. Yeah.
Mad Max, there's always welding going on in the background. How do you think they build all that stuff? You need a welder, right? So like if the shit goes down and I'm a welder, I got job security. It's like, okay, you're a welder, you're in. We won't kill you. It's like your brain out. Come in, you're in. So I have marketable skills in the end times.
Okay. Well, you know what? I never thought of it that way. Now I'm just like I'm off to learn welding myself. Just like
you gotta learn. You gotta be useful because they're gonna eat you.
Look, I'm not saying the apocalypse is coming.
I'm not.
Help it. Ukraine, please, no. But yeah, welding. Gonna take that up. So, are you a qualified welder? I know that sounds great. No.
If your life depended on it, I'm not the guy.
Okay.
It's mostly like art welding. I'm very practical, so I actually found a way to make money doing it, so I could pay for the habit. So like if I could get a job, like I could weld, sure. So I do like displays for my father-in-law's business. I did art welding. I would take golf clubs and I would chop them off, and then they would weld them into bowls, and I would sell those. And I also had a job for 6 months working at a place where they did these beautiful tables, like live edge tables, redwoods, and so I would make the bottoms. I would make the metal bottoms, 5-6 foot tables. I mean, just like it. And so I did that and I was happy as a clam. During COVID, I was like, and it was beautiful, but it's like it's a young man's job. Like my hands were hurting bad. I mean, if you're using the grinder for 8 hours a day trying to polish it, it's terrible. I mean, it was really bad for my body. So I had to quit and go back to doing my business again. So it was like a year I took off. During COVID, everything shut down. I went and got a job. I'm like, dude, I'm not stopping, bro. I'm getting a job. I'm gonna be like, like that's how I am. I'm like the freaking immigrant who's like, no, there's no break. We work, right? So I got a job at Home Depot, and then I got a job as welding, and I was like, okay, things are coming back. I started my business back up again, and that was that.
Interesting. Because with regards to like welding, and as you said, you needed to pay for the habit. Like, I have no idea if welding is expensive or cheap, but they do pay welders who are very like qualified a good chunk of change. Let's just say.
Yes, but yeah. I have a thing about like I don't think college is for everybody, right?
No.
Because a lot of people go to college, they waste all this money, and they end up working at McDonald's, let's say, or try to. So the trades, like a plumber and the welder and all the carpenter, those guys make a lot of money, and they're not in debt, right?
Yeah.
They learn a craft, or learn something, and then they're not in debt, but then they're making bank because they're in demand.
Yeah. And like this is the thing, they pick up skills of basically learning how to build a business. Like, not, you know what I mean? Not so much from scratch, but they get that sort of advice, like bits and pieces from working on the trade from other like people who've like gone before them. And
they
like
work for somebody. They work for somebody, then boom, 5 years later, what are they? So I'm gonna start my own business.
Yeah, absolutely. And like this is the thing. If you talk to me when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, I'd be like, of course you want to go to college. Like it makes like the most logical sense. And like, you know what I mean? But I agree with your actual like sentiment right there. College is not for everyone, and you've got to basically find what that sort of skill set is. Because like you trap yourself, and I don't know, like I've seen the stories about like America and like colleges and debt and everything like this. Like going to a state school, if you go to a state school, even if you're going out of your state to another state school, is hella expensive. And then if you're talking about anything Ivy League, that's even hella more expensive.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
I mean, you become a doctor or a lawyer. I don't know. It's like $250,000 debt. I mean, boom, right there. You get out of college, you're in debt.
Yeah. And then you've got to basically try to build, like, work your way out of that debt, as well as like taking care of your family, as well as like putting money aside for your pension, as well as like getting your house, and like the list continues, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a college degree. I dropped out. I was like 2 classes away from an associate's degree, which is not it's like you go to community college and then you get AA degree, they call it. And I was like 2 classes away. Like, I was like, it was like 2 classes for like social studies or something, or like intercultural studies. I'm like, listen, I'm Greek. I got enough culture. Thanks. Bye. And I just like
that is like, okay, why did you drop out with 2 classes to go? Was it a case of it was going to be a significant amount of time, those 2 classes? Or?
No, I didn't want to take the classes. I don't want to take that. I'm not interested. And my dad started the business, so I went to work for my dad. So it was like, I'm working. I got enough I know enough to start making money.
Yeah.
You know what? So it's interesting because not having a degree or any kind of degree or diploma, it's made me more, how do I say, it's forced me to overcompensate for not having that by working harder and learning my stuff and learning my craft. So I couldn't say, well, I got a blah blah degree. I'm like, I gotta just hustle, and like my work has to show that I could do the work. So that's I put the energy into making sure my work was phenomenal. Does that make sense? So I had to overcompensate by working harder.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And like, this is the thing, like, yes, I think there's many people, well, if you did a degree in graphic design and everything like this, I got my degree in graphic design and you like, if there was a sliding door moment where you go into college doing graphic design and you like just working for your dad, by the time you hit the same age, if you like, you'll be like, yes, but I've been working in the industry and I know this.
Yeah.
You've got your degree and you've got a lot of catch up to do. And as each sort of month goes by, you still keep rising, and they might rise a little until they get their job, and they might not necessarily be doing anything sort of detailed or anything like this, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's things if I had a degree, there's things I wish I would have had. There's certain experiences when you get to a bachelor in arts or whatever, you have certain experiences in the college environment that I didn't have. that I wish I had, but I'm okay. Like this, like it's too late now. Like, you know, listen, I got YouTube, I'm good. Like
Yeah,
that's like
yeah.
I can always take a class, find an online course, I can watch a YouTube, I can read a book, and like that's been like, I heard this one quote says most of the people die from the neck up at age 22 because that's when they come out of college and then they stop learning.
Mm.
So they get their college degree and then they stop learning, which is terrible. Like I didn't have that luxury, so I had to like keep learning. That's all. I'm always, you know, gaining new skills. I mean, I'm reading this book right now. It's called Never Split the Difference, which is about negotiation.
Okay.
Dude, Chris Voss, he's an FBI negotiator for like 20 years.
I've heard of this guy. Yeah.
Dude, listen to me.
I've
I
heard of
got
this
two
guy.
books. I got the PDF. I got the YouTube things I'm listening on the way to work, and I got the master class online. What I'm doing is I'm using these because I want to, like, I'm at a spot where like I get people coming in to get work from me or to inquire about work, but then I lose them on the estimate, or I lose them when I'm talking to them and try to get them, convince them to work with me. So that's so I'm learning how to become a better negotiator, how to use tactical empathy to connect with my audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tactical empathy. Look, I love the word tactical and empathy. Don't match, but it's beautiful.
No, like this is the thing. When I hear that sentence, tactical empathy, I would say no. I would never hear that anywhere else. But like, you know, like it's just like tactical empathy. What? It's like,
I know. What is that?
Yeah, you kind of go, that is some calculated shit right there.
But it's not even you trying to get one over on the other person. It's like what I'm trying to do. You and I, we're collaborators, right? And the problem in between us, we're looking at it from different angles. So all we're trying to do is like find a way for us to solve this problem together from different angles. That's all it is. I'm not even trying to convince you nothing. I'm trying to get in your head and try to understand where you're coming from, right? So I can help you.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I mean, I'm here to help, but I want to be able to convey and connect with my clients in a way that like, okay, I can trust this guy. This guy knows what he's doing. He's for me. He understands. Like if you understand a client where they're coming from, it's a beautiful thing. I just got I just got a job because I did the work to understand, empathize with the person. I mean, this client has like, went through the recovery, drug and alcohol, and he's starting a business to help other people through music who have gone through alcohol and drug problems. So like I had to like get in and like really understand what he's trying to do, and because now I can create a logo and a brand for him that will help him do that and convey that message. And it was just so cool.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, because like this is the thing, like when like one of the things you just said, which I find very interesting, you like go, yeah, when people at the age of 22 basically die from the head up, it's like it comes down to this, like what you tend to find, when like they go, yes, your parents always say this to you, and when you're young, they go, yeah, enjoy these moments while you can. Enjoy these moments while they can, because like you will be surprised how quickly it goes. You're like,
yeah.
And you look at them and it's like, okay, what are you talking about? Yeah, you're crazy. Yeah, you're mad. I'm about to just wait. Oh, wait, I'm going out with my friends. Oh, we are Legion. Like, off you go. You're like, yeah, party, dance, do all this. You do the same thing in your early 20s. Like, parents are going, enjoy this. Like, yeah, okay, no worries. We are Legion. Oh. Then when you get to your 30s, like, we are Legion. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. And then when you're 40, like, we're Legion, but I got to go to bed first.
Yeah. It's like, do I go to bed? We're small, like, no, we're not Legion. We are a small crack unit, which like get together every now and then when the stars align, when I don't have responsibilities and taking care of this. And through that, you kind of stop having these conversations you would have had when you were younger with strangers, like basically opportunities to read and learn from other areas become a little bit like harder to do because, hey, look, you're a father of four, like, you know what I mean? Like trying to find that sort of sliver of time, which you know what I mean. There's like going like you. I bet like I've got to say, you must already have a little cry to yourself when you look around and go, I'm by myself. I'm alone. It's like it's so magical. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, finding time to do stuff. I mean, I'm both a solitary person and I enjoy company. When I like right now, I'm enjoying your company and I'm energized by this conversation. But like at some point during the day, I like graphic design is a solitary, kind of endeavor for me. And I've always done it like solitary things in my life because I find I get recharged by it. I like to read, I journal. I've built I've written 32 years. I've journaled solid. I have like 44 journals that I mean, like I write a lot. I mean, just like, but that's a solitary, but I get recharged by doing that, so I find cracks of time. I walk to work and back. So there's a moment where I can be by myself and, just sort of meditate, whatever. So I find little moments.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And like this is the thing. I think most guys are exactly like that because you're like, okay, yeah, I want to be with the guys, I want to hang out. But then there's the time it's a case of if you can leave me alone for a moment or two, I will be happy. And I think sometimes ladies don't get that because they're like, why would you want to be alone? Why would you like it's like, hey, just so I can just do stuff,
That's why I took up welding. It's very solitary. I mean, think about it. You're covered in leather, you got earplugs, you got a mask, you got a hood that you can only see like the light in front. So you basically like isolate yourself, like sensory deprivation. And people wonder why when they sneak up on you, you jump and you freak out because you like been so focused on this like little spot of light for like an hour and you're getting burned at the same time. You're like, no, I'm gonna keep going because I want this world to be beautiful and I don't care if I'm on fire. I've lit like, oh, dude. Okay. I was welding outside at the company. And it's by the river. It was like dry California. So the last thing you want to do in California is start a fire. You don't want to be that guy. Trust me. You don't want to be that guy, right? So I was welding outside this thing that was too big for the room, and I'm welding. All of a sudden, I hear I hear this sound that doesn't sound right. You have to be very aware. You have to be like you got to smell stuff. You got to know what things smell like when they're burning. And you got to hear, you got to be like kind of in tune. So I hear this sound that doesn't sound like welding. I put my HUD up and there was like a 3x5 foot area that's grass fire.
Oh no.
I start because of sparks. I mean, everything's dry.
Yeah.
I literally like threw myself on the grass with my whole body. And I'm on the fire with my body, like just going like this because I don't want to be that guy who starts into the California fire. I was like, oh my God.
Oh no! Oh my God! No, so that's mad. Yeah.
So I put the fire out. Nothing happened. So I'm good. We're good.
Yeah. No. Because
I'm not that guy.
No. Because like, thank God. I think it must have been 2 years ago, maybe 2.5, 3 years. There was those idiots who had like a gender reveal and they used the flare, and it was in California, and they basically, oh God, it was like a huge fire.
Yeah, I got evacuated 3 times.
Yeah.
I mean, the fire was like 10 miles from my house a couple of years ago.
Oh my Lord. Yeah. Like, that's the mental thing about California. Look, California, from what I've seen, I've never been. I've been on the East Coast of the United States, as far north as Boston and as far south as Washington, D.C. Haven't quite made it to like Florida, but you know what I mean? Alligators, such and such. Well, welcome to that crazy land.
That's right.
But like California, like it has such an embarrassment of riches. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, the advert, oh, you can go snowboarding in the morning and surfing in the evening. It's like a beautiful land, everything, but the fires, the earthquakes, and you're like, okay.
But then you have to like wade through, 80,000 homeless people to get to the. I mean,
is the homeless situation as bad as they say?
Where do I start? So we start in San Francisco. San
Oh,
Francisco.
yeah.
There's feces everywhere.
Oh my Lord.
There's homeless people. It's so sad. It breaks your heart. There's homeless encampments everywhere. I think the national they're going to change the national flag to tarp. You know what tarp is?
Yes, I know what top is.
So they're going to start printing the California flag on blue tarp.
Oh God.
And there's people like on the streets, like with like doing like heroin, like everywhere. It like they're in the streets dying. They're just it's heart wrenching. It's tragic. You know, and
How?
that's in San Francisco. And then you go to LA, there's like, 80 to 160,000 homeless people in the city. And then they don't prosecute. The crime's gone up. I mean, there was an article today saying, yeah, if you have expensive jewelry, don't wear it because you're going to get mugged. You might get mugged.
Yeah. Oh my Lord.
In San Francisco, if you have a car, and people break into the cars all the time. So what they're doing now is they empty out the car and they leave the cars open so nobody will break into the car.
Okay. That
I hate this.
right. Yeah. Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah.
No, that's kind of crazy. It just kind of blows my mind that how it's got so bad. Like, because I see news reports, and you know what I mean. When you see a news report, if you see a documentary, you kind of like go, "Are you putting it on? Are you kind of like, you know what I mean, playing the game of like exaggeration?" But yeah, when you're like going, "Yeah, feces everywhere."
You drive around, and all the highways have like communities, like tarp everywhere. It's like if you walk through a homeless encampment, it's epic. It's epic. People build. It's almost like they're building their mansions, and it's like tarp with couches and furniture. I mean, they like build out. You know, it's like, oh, here's my 3-2. It's only $300,000. You know, I mean, it's epic, man. Homeless people, God bless them, but they collect. They are collectors of stuff like you can't believe, like, office chairs and furniture, like underneath the overpass on the highways. There's like, like this furniture. It's like a guy it's got fencing with, with pallets and tarp. He's got like chairs and furniture. I mean, it's like, it's not temporary. It's like,
it's a permanent structure.
Yeah, they're pouring concrete. They're putting foundation. I don't know. I'm kidding, but
I'm like, where do they get the concrete from?
Trust me, they'll find somewhere to get concrete. I'm not surprised, but like I drive by and I see, like, I'm fascinated by the stuff that people collect, because I'm kind of the word pack rat is somebody who collects. So I have a tendency to do that. I'm a recovering pack rat, so I get it. So I'm fascinated by like what I see in these, like, as I'm driving by, I would see like this stuff, and I'm like, I just like wanted to go and like just look, because it's just amazing what people collect. Absolutely gobsmacking. What is that, gobsmacking?
Yeah, well, like this is the thing. The thing what like comes to my mind is, how did they let it drift so badly into this sort of that realm of like, wow. Do you think
politics? I mean, liberal politics has ruined California.
Mm-hmm.
Left, sort of far left policies, where in California, you cannot prosecute anybody who steals anything under $950. So people walk into a Walmart or a Walgreens or whatever, and they steal a bunch of stuff and just shove everything in a bag and walk out, and nothing happens. And so they had to shut down like 20 Walgreens in San Francisco. 20 Walgreens shut down because they're losing money. And so the sad part is, although the older generation that's living there now have 20 less Walgreens to get their prescription drugs.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? It's like, don't get me started.
Okay. No, that's madness. That is absolute madness. And like, I take it with regards to all of that sort of situation, that type of things going on a regular basis, was sort of like one of the things which was like, time to relocate, if you get what I mean.
Say that, time to what? Oh,
to relocate, move.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the fires is because, I'm leftist policies created a situation where now that they got rid of the logging industry in California. So what the logging industry does, they go in and they take trees
Yeah,
that, because the forest gets so full, you got to take the dead stuff out and process
absolutely.
it. So if you get rid of the logging business, the industry, now all the stuff falls. Now you create it's creates firewood, like fuel for the fire. So like that, you get like a PG&E, like an electric power that happened the first time. It sparked. It was windy and it sparked. It was really dry. It sparked, boom. Like people lost their homes. Like within half an hour, it traveled miles. My aunt lost this multi-million-dollar home up. It just traveled, and it was windy, and there's like balls of like embers. They would blow, and they would travel in the air. And they would land. And they would start another fire, and it was kept blowing. It was like the whole of Santa Rosa. It's just. I mean, it was epic. And because they don't clear cut, they don't manage the forest like they should. And so there's all this fuel. I mean, okay, and then we got the droughts. And so what they do is they don't build dams, they let the water go out, and because they want to save the salamander or the fish or whatever. And then so there's no water. They just let the water run because there's so massive mismanagement instigated by leftist policies. And this is the best way I can describe it.
It sounds like there's a real sort of disconnect from basically what happens in the cities and what happens in the countryside.
Yes.
And then basically there's another disconnect of what's going on in the city and basically like a lot of common sense, if you get what I mean.
Exactly. The problem with common sense is not very common.
Right. Well, yes. Like this is yeah. Yeah, no, this is you can shift mountains and change the world if you had common sense on your side.
You need some, like, you're right. So the politics in the cities, they're more left leaning. Yeah. So California is huge. It's a whole freaking country. It's huge. So the different areas have different, political leanings or different requirements or needs, right? So it's almost like the policies coming out of the big cities, LA and San Francisco Bay Area, with the tech and all of that. So they make policies that affect, it benefits them, and they feel good policies, but it messes up everybody else. Like the people who rely on the water to grow and stuff. These farmers. California is one of the biggest, growers of vegetables in the country. So when you restrict water, when you control the water by somebody in LA, the people from they can't get the water to grow the food. It affects them.
Yeah.
So it's because it's so big, it's really hard to please everybody, unfortunately. So they've been talking about splitting California up for some years.
Well, this is the thing. From the size of it, God, I think if California was its own country, it would be like the fourth richest country in the world or something like that. But from the size of it, population size and their sort of demographics, you could break California up, I think, into 3, possibly 4, and it would still be quite a healthy size. Well, I think it'll be quite successful. But with all of this, which has gone on in California and everything like this, is Florida extremely different to California, or is there some similar problems there?
It's different in terms of, I think people are more relaxed here.
Okay.
It's a little bit more hectic here in Fort Lauderdale, because there's people from different countries all together driving. There's people from the Caribbean, and New Yorkers are coming down, and you got California. So there's got a greater mix of people. So it's a little crazy. It's a lot like, okay, so you got a governor that's a conservative governor, Governor DeSantis. So he's just the policies. So what it is, it's a freer state. There's less connection, there's less contact with government. Like in California, there's a lot of rules, regulations, taxation. You can't build this, you can't do that. Like to have a business, LLC, is like $900, $800 a year. Here, it's $150. So they make it
Ah,
easy. The flow of being able to start a business, grow a business, do business is a lot easier here, and there's less government intervention in Florida.
ah.
If that makes sense, that's the difference.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I totally get it because that's one of the things I do watch a lot of documentaries.
Yeah,
That's one of the things with the regulations which have come in like on a regular basis for businesses. It makes it harder. Hence the reason why there's been a huge shift from California to basically like states like Nevada, Texas. People are moving up to Boise, Idaho,
yeah, yeah.
like Florida is like yeah, been getting a lot of people from New York and stuff like that coming in.
A lot
Yeah,
of New Yorkers here. A lot of New Yorkers. You see like New York license plates all over the place.
yeah, because
I
when I oh
go,
sorry,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say when I hear like Fort Lauderdale, it's like where Disneyland, Universal Studios in my
No,
head
yeah,
is.
no.
So
That's in
that's
Orlando. That's like 3 hours
oh
north of here.
okay, Fort Lauderdale. What is that?
It's South Florida. South Florida is like South Florida is like it's like sunny and it's got its own thing. Like you go and it's hot and
Ah,
sticky, and it rains a lot. Like during the summertime, it's just thunder all the time. I love the rain. I mean, like all of a sudden it'll start raining and it rains so hard that you can't even see the windshield wipers don't even work. You have to like pull over and stop and then we'll go away in like 10 minutes, done, and then you go on your way.
mm,
North, like Orlando, it's a little bit cooler. Like I went there to Disney World in like December. It was still nice, but it was like a little chill that you don't get here.
yeah.
So there's a different climate up there as well,
Ah,
you
brilliant.
know. And
Yeah.
as you go northern Florida, you get into near Georgia, you get a little bit more weather and cold, and you get the oranges that freeze. You know,
Mm, did not know that, but I've learned something new right there. But yeah, like I had to ask, like sort of like let's move away slightly away from the whole
okay, okay,
politics.
okay.
I don't know where it says that's got slowly pulled in more and more.
That's
But like,
that's okay. That's okay.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Like acting, what like how did that kick off?
Uh, Listen, the way I do things is like, okay, so I was working at a building and Lee Cummings, he's a filmmaker and one of my best friends. He would rope me into projects. He's like, hey, I'm doing a commercial. I need an actor. We're always collaborating because we work for the same nonprofit. He did the
Yeah.
video part and I did the graphic, but he always had other things that he was doing. So he's like, hey, Costas, I'm doing this commercial. Are you interested? I'm like, sure, let's do it. So it sounded like fun. First of all, it's fun, and it's just I did it because it was fun. Like I wasn't trying to be an actor or something, but you know me, like if I start doing something more than once, it's like okay, I got to do a website now. Now I'm an actor. Like I do that, like that's what I did. Like I have 3 videos, boom, and I'm an actor now. So I got paid. Sure, let's do it. So it's just my weirdness that I'll try to create something out of something that's happening and make it into something.
Okay. So you're a hobby actor at this
Yeah, I
present
mean,
time.
it's just fun. Like I said, if something comes along that sounds interesting to me and it sounds like it would be fun to do,
Mm,
I'll jump into it and start doing it. That's how, I mean, for me, okay, so I'll tell you my age. How old do you think I am? It's okay. You
hmm.
could you can be honest. This is a giveaway though.
Well, like this is the thing.
It's
Like,
okay. I'll
okay,
I'll
20.
let you off the hook. I'm 50.
Okay.
So people are like, you're 50, you don't look 50, but like I think I look younger. So for me, what is helped me sort of stay young in my heart and is I have a good sense of humor and I just have fun. Like I believe children have it, like they know how it works. Like you have fun and not just don't take yourself too seriously and just go for it. Just do something. That's cool. It sounds cool. Let's do it. That's
Mm,
how I am. I just jump into stuff uh, like a child, like sort of
childlike
childlikeness is
enthusiasm.
yeah. I think that's important for longevity and like health and I don't know. That's kind of one of my things.
Mm. Yeah, so like this is the thing. Like if the opportunity arose, to be in like either a TV show or a like film?
Sure.
Which one would you just like? Sure, that's sure to both of them, I imagine.
Sure to both. Sure to both. Like,
Okay.
whatever comes first, let's do it. If I also am I getting paid? Great, let's do it. Even better. That's important. You know, like if I'm getting paid, it's like a bonus. It's like I'm getting paid to have fun. Sure.
uh, would you like? Do you think you'll ever sort of like put the energy in to get maybe a SAG card, uh, to be unionized?
Oh wow, that's. I mean that takes some focus and dedication to do that. Uh, I don't think at this time I have that.
Okay.
Like I don't have the desire to go that far.
Right.
Like if it's just sort of like literally I got a commercial. The guy down the hallway here is like, hey, I need a doctor for a commercial. Are you interested? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Seriously. Like if it comes my way, great. If I have to go look for it, I'm not interested because I'm really focused in the business.
Mm.
Like that's my main focus. That's what I put all my energy and anything. I tend to get sidetracked and like creative people get to like, oh look, shiny things. They go off and lose focus. Yeah, exactly. What's going on? This interview just went down. So I have to watch myself, but I'll do it if it doesn't distract from my main focus and my family, my business.
Mm.
If it's something, like I said, so I'll do it if it just happens to come my way. Like I'll get paid, sure, it'll be fun.
Mm.
There's like a very it's easy come, easy go. Like I don't have any attachment to anything like that.
Mm.
So if it comes my way, it's a beautiful thing. It's like the universe saying, hey, let's do this week. Let's do a commercial. Look, great, let's do that. And then it goes away, and then it's like I did what I needed to do, and it was beautiful, like experience. But I'm not trying to like, because what happens is we get it's like drugs. You have an experience. You pull the lever on the slot machine, then you win, and now you want to keep doing it. You want to keep pulling the lever, and that's
that dopamine rush.
Yeah, so it's like if it comes, beautiful, and then that's it. I'll go back to work, and then I'm still happy. It's all good.
Like I love it. Like this is the thing because okay, I'm gonna vibe for who you are at this present time because look, like okay, it's just like okay, yeah. I like doing my art stuff on many different levels, experiencing new art stuff, great. But if the op like if something big came along, like because I can imagine you like just dropping everything to like go on like if someone yeah, you want to go like sail across the world, and I was like, yeah, that's like I think
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like when things come, I use this sort of like I think I have a good sense of like my gut feeling. Like
Okay.
The way I see it is like if it comes, if it feels good, there's something about it that it has to tick all these boxes. It has to feel good. It's got to be at the right time. I have to be in the right frame where like, oh yeah, this makes sense right now. Like sometimes things come and it's like, not feeling that one, and I don't. I just say, no, that's not what I'm doing. And if my wife is also on the same level, if we have a connection about it, if we both feel that same, like, oh, this is interesting, let's do that. Like coming to Florida was like, I didn't.
Talking about
Florida was like, listen, Florida was like the last place on earth I would move to, honestly. Like I didn't consider Florida ever. Like I was thinking I was going to go to like Idaho or some mountain, cabin, whatever, but maybe Texas. Florida was like, I didn't like all of a sudden it was like Florida. It was like that quick. It was like, yes, that makes sense. I don't know why, but it makes 100% sense. We're doing that. And I just jumped on it and did it. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. It was like, done.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. You see, like but like that's a great thing. Like you know what, being able to like go with that flow, trust your gut that deeply, and go, yeah, okay. I don't know what's gonna potentially happen, but it feels right. Let me go with it. Like, and so many people don't have that. Well, like, or they like, no, that's a correction. People do have that, but
They
They
don't trust it.
choose not, yeah, absolutely. And like they're like fearful because sometimes at some point in their life it didn't go exactly to plan.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I would simply say in most things, nothing really goes to plan. And if you do think like you can plan and control anything, speak to anyone who's a parent. Like, and they'll assume like you're crazy.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
like,
That's right.
it's like
That's right.
I go and
Yeah,
hope.
it's what happens is like there's a moment where whatever it is that comes to you,
Mm,
it comes at the right moment. Like you can say universe or you can say God. Okay, so whatever your flavor is, I'll use either one. Okay,
yeah.
so when the universe brings something to you at that moment, the right time, you have a moment, you have a brief moment, a very small moment to say yes.
Mm,
A very short moment, because if you think about it too much, it's like it's very fleeting. It will disappear. And so here's what happened. I met this lady. She had the idea to glue pens to her car, but she didn't do it. Right? That was an idea that she had, but she didn't do it. There was something, whatever it is that she didn't do it. So it's almost like the universe is like, you know what? I really want this idea to land on Earth. I want a pen. I want a car covered with pens on this planet.
mm.
So I'm going to give it to this lady. No? All right. I'm going to give it to somebody else who's going to say yes. And so he's, Costas, what do you think about this? And I'm like, yes, I'm doing it. Like within like 24 hours, I was gluing pens to my car. Like I didn't just didn't think twice. I'm like, that's it. Boom, just do it. And it turned into something really. So oftentimes we miss opportunities because we overthink it. We're like, oh, I don't know, whatever it is. We have issues and stories that we tell ourselves. But and even if you fail, I've had times where I've done something and it failed. But man, I learned some amazing lessons from that failure.
Yeah,
So
but
either way, I win.
yeah, no, but that's the whole thing. Like, okay, from an early age, we're taught like not you failure is a bad thing.
Hmm.
And like it's like gets so ground into us, like, okay, if you could grind in like failure is a bad thing into us when we were just babies,
Hmm.
no one will freaking walk. No one will freaking walk at all. It'll be like,
Yep.
nah, I failed. No, no. But like,
No.
it's a case of when we start out, like, yes, that determination to get up, walk. If you've got the ability to get up, walk, get up,
Yeah.
walk, get up, walk, fall 1,000 times, fall 2,000 times, until one day it's like, oh, wait,
Oh shit. I'm walking.
I'm standing, I'm walking. And it's like, and this is the point where most parents are like, oh, is that wonderful? You can walk and now you can run. And now everything
Yeah.
is at a height which, yeah. But the whole point is that sort of realm of failure, right, where you could learn so much. Like people tend to learn so much more from like failure rather than victory. And I'm not saying yes, go and fail, 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 fail. But I'd say don't be afraid to fail because when failure comes, learn from it, become better, and like yeah, strive to like succeed the next day. You know.
Yeah. The somebody asked the president of IBM.
Mm,
Somebody says, "Hey, what is the secret to success?" And he said, "Double your failure rate, my son. Double your failure rate."
mm,
So meaning, like, if you want to learn fast, like just increase the rate of your failures, which is kind of a little bit not what you were saying, but it's interesting. Like
yeah,
fail forward, but fail like just freaking just you know.
yeah, no. And like because I was watching, I don't know if you know this YouTuber called Mr. Beast.
No.
No, like he's a YouTuber, like he's like one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform. And like it's a case of like he goes, yeah, he goes, yeah. He had like got with a team of like YouTubers who were at a certain size. They're all small at one point, and he was like, rather than like just him failing, like every time one of them failed, and there was five of them, they would learn from each other's failures and
Wow.
build from there. It's like it's. I think it's such an important thing that you do that. So much growth, so much like yeah. I can imagine what your sort of graphic work was like when you first started. Yeah, yeah, I don't think it was spectacular.
Let's not talk. Let's not talk about
Okay, sorry.
it.
I've entered a delicate point.
No, that's oh, yeah, I made some mistakes. Oh, I did. I got to tell you, I did a logo for a nonprofit, and I did it in papyrus font. And
Okay.
it's like papyrus to me is like up there with Comic Sans. I would never ever use papyrus again to do a logo. And this company, this nonprofit, it was like they really branded. They put it on the trucks, on the shirts, on the hats, I mean, it was papyrus. Like the whole town was like, oh my God, what have I done? You know, like I'm so ashamed. You know, like no, I didn't do that. No, I swear. They went with it.
Costa, Costas, you're a graphic terrorist.
No. But I only use one font.
Just one font.
Just one font.
Just one font.
I used it. No. It wasn't like 3 fonts or more.
Okay.
You know.
So it was like a misdemeanor then.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I would. It was a rookie mistake, as they say. You know.
I see. So I have to ask, you've gone through the pandemic. You've basically worked in Best Buy, like you worked in like
Home Depot.
You did welding. You basically now back doing what you're like doing your graphics design as well as a little bit of acting here and there. So, what is the future for you?
What is the future for me?
How is that journey looking?
Well, I'm in the process of. I've been working for myself with as a one-person design shop for many years. So I'm at a place where I want to expand my business and do more, like get into advertising, get into more brand strategy. Because right now it's like the clients right now, they're like, you know, they're smaller jobs. I want to be able to grow and build a team so I could do crazy big jobs. Like, you know, $50, $100, $250,000 jobs, you know, like really big stuff for big companies. So that's where I'm at. I'm sort of working through like how do I delegate? You know, like I've been doing the work myself this whole time. How do I get somebody else to do it and to retain the quality and let go of the work? Because for somebody who's a perfectionist, it's really hard to let go of the work. My God,
yes, control.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I think that's a lot of things like people when they're starting out businesses or any endeavor, like, okay, well, especially if you're a perfectionist, that sort of element of control, like basically letting go fingertip after fingertip, because we all, like they say, we all get 24 hours in a day, but that's not necessarily true. If you are in control of a team, you have like 10 people, you get 240 hours instead of that 24.
That's awesome. I
So
love that.
yeah. So the sooner you can delegate, and like I need to do that at some point myself, like the better, the more you can build. Because look, you can do good things, you can do very good things as an individual. But when you are a team, you do great things. You do like amazing things. And like, hey, as I say, it takes a community.
It's been good the last, you know, I've been ramping up the last 8 months. Actually, the last month I've been like supercharging. Like if it comes to my desk, it's like how can I delegate this? Every I ask the question of every project, every part. It's like, who can do this?
Yeah.
Boom, and just send it. Who can do this? Just have it, you know. So it's, I mean, I wake up in the morning and there's work in my inbox. So it's like I'm getting into the swing of things. It's really like wonderful. It's a beautiful thing.
Excellent. So like with regards to sort of building your team, like who do you think you're gonna bring on, or if you haven't already?
I outsource some of the work to independent contractors.
Uh-huh.
So like this is my office space. So like right now, this is like, I have a computer over there, and actually my daughter comes and she does she's in cartooning. So she
Oh,
comes
nice.
after work and she works on there. So I get to mentor her. So I don't use is a bad word. I work with independent contractors from around the world who do good work and get the work done. You know what I mean? That's where I'm
Mm,
at right now. So it could change. So for now, it's I'm doing baby steps, just practicing, letting go of some of the work, and I'm getting comfortable with it. I'm getting to understand what I need to do, how to prepare, how to plan for that work, and give myself more lead time to get the work done.
mm.
Because I'm so used to like cranking it out that now it's like I gotta add a day or two to like, okay, send it out, have it done, come back, do some critique, send it back. So I gotta sort of. So now that I'm giving myself more time, and I'm actually in the great flow right now. So, I got a list of things I got to do, and I've been sending all kinds of things out today. I'm going to get off the phone and finish some estimates and proposals and things like that. So I just keep it going.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Because
Do
like, yeah, like, hey, like moving it on. So like, have you read sort of Tim Ferriss's like 4 Hour Work Week or something like that? No?
4 hour work week. Are you
Uh,
kidding me?
uh, uh,
I haven't read the book. Okay.
yeah.
So, but 4 hour work week doesn't. Uh, I haven't read the book, so like off the top of my head, I was like, it doesn't make sense to do that. I don't know how he does that, but
No,
maybe I should read the book.
well,
I should
yeah,
check
like
out the book.
like basically it like because when you go use talent around the world like he talks about using delegation and everything like this to like to get that sort of time back to sort of go with like to bring it down to a 4 hour work week. And when it says 4 hours, I'll go, no, yeah, it's not quite as it's a catchy title,
It's the
right?
idea. It's the idea.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm
But
open to that. Listen, I'm just as lazy as the next guy. So if I can work less, I'm okay with it.
yeah,
You
but
know?
are you that lazy?
No, I'm not.
Is that going? Yeah, is that going? Yeah. Let me see. Between your graphics design business, your acting, like your journaling, and then like your welding. Mm, are
So
you?
no,
It's
no,
like,
I'm a maniac. So I haven't done it. All my welding stuff is back in California. So what happened by coming to Florida? So I had space in California to do stuff, art, and I had property and blah blah blah. But
yeah.
when I come to Florida, I'm in an apartment, so I got no workshop. So what I
Ooh.
did for myself, I give myself the greatest gift on earth is the gift of focus, meaning I have like no distractions. I'm not doing art, I'm not doing welding, I'm not doing anything else but working on the business.
Mm.
And that's what I really wanted to do. So it's for a creative person to like focus on one thing is fucking hard. It's been good. Like I needed to just do one thing. Like I was like, my business was like all over the place. It was kind of like a hobby almost. Like I wasn't
Mm.
focused. I wasn't really branded. As soon as I got here, I was like rebranded. I refocused. I started adding all the, the, the pieces to the puzzle to help me, optimize and automate my business a little bit more, so I really like, it was just the best thing that ever happened to me. So,
Ah.
acting, I got 4 hours of doing something, but it's not my focus. Like it's a cool thing, it's kind of fun, but like ultimately the focus is on the business. I want to grow an amazing business. I want to help, I want to help. I love solving puzzles, and that's sort of the gist of what I do. I like to solve big gnarly puzzles. I like to take
Mm.
this mess that people have, like I got all these problems, I got this stuff, and I got to do this, and I want to take all this stuff and formulate it into something that's beautiful and orderly and it's functional. Like if I could say something about my work, the different work that I do, like the artwork. I'm
Yeah.
really into functional art. Like
Mm.
I'd rather make a table than a sculpture that just sits in the corner. I want my art to do something, to be useful. That's sort of like it has to be simple and useful. So I made cool bikes that I could ride up and down the street. I made furniture. So my work, like doing art, acting, I'm going to get paid for it. So like I had this sort of practical part of me, practical slash functional. Like it's got to have a purpose to it. It can't just be art for art's sake. It doesn't do anything for me. I want to be able
Yeah.
to contribute my art to contribute in some functional way. It's weird, I know.
No, 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 it's not weird. No, it's like one of those things where, like, I think there are many sort of different types of artists, like where some people like go, I'm just doing art for art's sake, and like it's like this is what it is, and it'll never be worth anything. It'll never do anything like this. Some people like, oh yes, I want art to be like, yes, evoke thought, but like yeah, and then there's some people like yourself, which are like, yes, it has to serve some form of function. So like, and that's where you're most really going to get the battle of intellectuals where you go, well, if it serves a function, now is it truly art? If you get what I mean.
I think it does, because I think if I think art, it could be things that solve problems are interesting. So if it could be artistic, if you could solve a problem and then it can be artistic at the same time, that's even better. You know what I mean? Like you solve the problem and it's also something like interesting to look at. You know,
Yeah.
so it's got two purposes. It's like I like dual purposed things. Like if it doesn't, it's weird. I like overbuild stuff, and so I get really into like figuring it out, and it's got to do this and it's got to do that.
Yeah. It's like that's going to be a little bit tricky. That can't be that can't be easy all the
No, but
time
it's
because
like my like engineer mind wants to like build something that it's like it does something and it does something else. Like I had this this I don't know, I kind of want to, but anyways, I'll take things apart and put them back together and it does something. It's like one thing, but then it turned into something else. I don't know, like
yeah. My. Look, that's going to be an interesting juxtaposition because, like, if you've got an engineering mind kicking around, hello,
yeah.
with regards to art and everything like this,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's going to lead to some sort of like, yeah, two different voices in your head, sort of having an argument. Because
I do that to myself. Like I sort of purposely like put myself in the headlock to be able to solve something that's, you know, that's how I am. I force myself into headlocks but it's challenging. It's like, you know, it's like it's very stimulating. It stimulates your mind and your thoughts, and it leads to other things. So it's like a good exercise. Like take two things and try to melt them together. How do you do that? Like, you know,
yeah,
and that does something, you know, that like expands your thinking, first of all, and then at the end of it, you like the process though is the beautiful thing, because you went from like, hey, let's do this, and then you went through all this struggle to gotta figure it out. It's actually, the journey is a beautiful thing. Like you went through this process of figuring out this crazy idea you had, and there it is. Like, okay, I love the Blue Man Group. Okay,
yeah,
so I wanted a Blue Man Group type of thing, but I wanted it to be mobile, so I made it so it fit on the roof of my car, so I could drive with it. But then you have to take the pipes off while you're driving. And when you land, you know, when you park, you put the pipes on, and then you can play on it on the side. So you have like 2 octaves of Blue Man Group instrument on the roof of my car. So that was one of the things I did. It had to be mobile, it had to be Blue Man Group, and it had to be like, you know, wind resistant.
aerodynamic.
Aerodynamic, that's right.
Like, okay, all I've got to simply say is, wow, like your business, like, because if you've got your whole entire focus like on this for the next like year or two, oh my lord, you are going to take off. You are going to do some, like, I can see, outlandish stuff, and I think it's going to be quite spectacular, as they say.
I want to solve bigger and bigger problems. That's basically my jam. Like that's a happy place. They give me something gnarly and I'll chew on it and figure out how to fix it, or how to make it better, or how to streamline it, or how to, you know, it's just it because when the client gets it, it's like it's beautiful, because it serves a function. It serves, you know, it helps their business. They're happy. They're like, dude, Costas, you solved the problem for us. We can figure it out. So you know what, it's to a function. It's both satisfying as from person to person, plus it helps their business grow and do something they haven't been able to do before.
I hear you. I hear you. And like, oh God, where does the time go? Now, yeah, no, final question I have to ask. Now, what, how can I put it? What would you say has been the thing, what has made you, brought you some form of gratitude in the last week or so?
Oh, um, oh, okay. Oh, okay. I know exactly what to tell you. My mother, I haven't seen my mother in 8 months.
Mm.
My mother is 81. She's Greek. She came to Florida to find a doctor for whatever she does this, she does some sort of. But anyway, she came to Florida to find a doctor. But the first day she was here, we took her. So in the morning, Saturday night, last Saturday, she came. Sunday morning, I made her coffee and toast. Then we went to the Greek church. She wanted to go meet some Greek people. And then we went to the Greek restaurant. She had an amazing meal with a fish. She loved it. And then we went to the beach and we spent the whole day. And then at night, she's like, so we live on the third floor. And she's like, I want to sleep outside. I want to sleep on the balcony because it's just beautiful. It's warm and it's windy. And she slept. She got up the next day. She's like, I've never slept so good in my life. So I got to give her something like I was actually in the car at the restaurant. I went to go make a call and I almost started crying because I got to give my mom an amazing day. Like I haven't seen her for 8 months. And so she had she's like, this is amazing. She thanked me for the meal. It was the most amazing meal she's had. So I got to sort of come here, relax and de-stress. They just sold the house. It was a big, but it was weird. It was neat to be able to give her like a wonderful day.
Mm.
All day just for her, whatever she wanted to do. And I start crying, I get emotional. So I'm grateful that she came over so I could give her that. And then she's here now, still now. So every day we do stuff. But so I was grateful for that, for her to be here. So I can give her that gift.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Excellent. Yeah, I'm
should do it again.
Yeah, indeed. Costas, can you tell the lovely people out there how they can find you, on these interwebs?
Okay, so my business is Envisionary Design, and it's also Envisionary Design on Instagram. My name is Costas Schuler. You can always Google me. You can find me. But Envisionary Design is my business name. But if you Google Costas Schuler, you'll find all my endeavors on them internets.
Brilliant. I'll put all of the information on the show notes, on the description, so you can go out there, find him. Yes, never know. Like maybe open up a little workshop near him.
Stop it. Now you're talking dirty to me. Come on.
I'm just going to send you emails of welding equipment.
Focus.
No.
I'm actually going to start a podcast page on my website so I can embed all the cool podcasts I get to be on. So actually I have this cool, weird idea. It's like I want to do 1,000 podcasts, just be on shows of 1,000 podcasts. And then maybe one day, like Joe Rogan is like, hey, bro, I heard you did 1,000 podcasts. Let's do the thousands with me. So then I go to Texas and be on the Joe Rogan show. So I'm putting it out there in the universe.
Well, hey, you know what? May this be the stepping stone for you to get onto Joe Rogan.
Absolutely. This is podcast number 3. So, I got 997 to go.
No worries. Yes. By the time you get to Joe Rogan, he'll be the second largest podcast in the world.
That's right.
I'll be number 1.
Yes, baby. Yeah, baby.
There you go.
It started all right here.
Absolutely. On that happy note, I'm going to say yes. Thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors. Costas, thank you for coming on today. As I was saying, thank you, my friends, my life warriors, for sticking with us so far up until this point. Let me just say, stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great one, guys. Yes. Peace.
Peace out.
Yeah. And what? Wait a second. Hey, we are recording. Come back here.
You recorded it, right?